sun comes up in the garden rose, morning breeze and the fragrance flows, boots in the dirt got soil on my hands.
What is the first thing that any artist will think about? Well, if you said composition, then you would be completely correct. But what does composition mean for us as gardeners? Well, we have to plant things in groups. We have to make sure we don't have a lot of random plantings. We have to plant with the end goal in mind. When we plant the first plant, we also want to be thinking about the last plant that we plant, and we want to be thinking about how the whole looks, how the composition looks. So one of the first things we can learn from artists is we want to start with the end in mind. We want to be thinking about the composition as we plant individual plants. The composition matters because when we step back and have a look at the whole, we want it to make sense, we want it to be calm, and we want it to be peaceful, right? So remember this, one rose in your garden is not more beautiful than your whole garden put together. So don't let the beauty of one rose dictate your whole garden. Just like the artist, always think of what you're trying to achieve. The artist tries to imagine the painting before painting it. And just like that, you also have to imagine what you want to do in your garden before you go out and dig the first hole. Having an idea, having a visualization in your head is really one of the key things of importance to create a beautiful flower bed, right?
I said I'd stop at 23, but now there's 50 next to me. Catalogs across the floor, and somehow I bought 10 more.
Now, another thing artists think about all the time is color harmony. They think about using a gradient of paint. So they can use colors that are complementary. They can use kind of neighboring colors that can kind of be used in place of each other. And they can also use colors that are more opposite, right? More contradictory. And it is up to you when you're designing your garden to decide the color palette. Do you want something that is complementary, or do you want something that is more contradictory? And that is what you'll have to decide. Do you want a flower bed with only pink roses, or do you want a flower bed with, God forbid, pink and red roses, right? Do you want your colors to complement, or do you want them to be contradictory? And how will the color design of your flower bed be? That is again something painters decide on all the time. They can use a long time just thinking about a blue color, right? Because is it going to be a blue color that leans towards violet, or is it going to be a blue color that leans towards green, right? Something like that artists can ponder on a long time. And the same, if you're choosing a pink rose, is this going to be a cold pink, or is it going to be a warm pink rose? Because the warm pink you can combine with something like the apricot colors, while the more cool pink you can combine with something like the more violet or more purple colors, right? So that is something to also think about like an artist when you're trying to create your rose bed. For example, what type of pink rose are you going with? A cold pink or warm pink, right? Just like the artist is asking themselves, are we going to go with a Prussian blue, or what are we going to go with, right? Are we going to go with that violet blue or that more green blue, right? So that is something you want to remember when you're doing your rose garden, right? Color theory.
City lights are far away, but the garden starts to sway. Velvet shadows on the ground, every scent a deeper sound.
Now another another thing you should really learn from artists is you want to control where people rest their eyes. You want to control the focal point. Just like in the video here with the apple, the background was just there for you to focus on the apple, right? Your focal point rested on the apple. The same in your garden. You have to create certain kinds of interest. It can be vertical interest, where you want people to focus on something vertical. It can be that you make a sharp bend in your kind of path where people can't see behind, so people naturally want to go around the bend of your garden to see what is behind that corner you made where you blocked vision out, right? So you can control focal point in many ways. You can control it by how you make your flower beds, by where you block vision and where you allow vision, and you can control it by different heights and that vertical interest, right? So remember, you want to create something that people can naturally rest their eyes on. You want to create the focal point. And sometimes that also means you want to leave a little bit of negative space, right? If you go back to the video with the apple, the background served as a negative space, very dull space to that red apple to really appear full and vibrant, right? Without the negative space, imagine if that red apple was stuck in a basket of all colorful fruit, right? You wouldn't have noticed the red apple that much, right? You only notice the red apple because it is so vibrant against the negative space of the background. And that is also something you can use when you're planting your plants. You can make the background more dull, so maybe you have a standard rose, or you have an archway or a pergola or something that really pops with that color, right? So you can use negative space in your garden also. You can create a negative space of topiary up against your roses so they pop more, right? So there's plenty of ways you can play around with creating the focal point in your garden.
Catalogs beside my bed, too many roses in my head, tea and fruit and mercolide.
Now, the last thing that good artists know is repetition creates harmony and layering creates depth. So repetition creates harmony. Good artists, they repeat certain shapes, they repeat certain colors in a painting to make it appear at harmony, to make it appear calm to the eye. And the same in your garden. Your garden, you can repeat a bit of symmetry, a bit of similar shapes. You can repeat the color, and you can repeat a lot of things when you go through your flower bed. I will often start out at the front of a flower bed with one color, then repeat that color in the middle, and again at the back. So there's a repetition of three, right? And that creates the calm to the eye, because the eye likes predictability, right? And it also creates a very, very good effect where it appears natural to look at because the colors are repeated. The same with layering, right? To keep things interesting, we also have to keep our minds entertained. And when we can always look behind something and see something more, that keeps us entertained. That keeps us want to keep looking, right? If everything is immediate in a flower bed, and then we have no interest. We have nothing to look for. You have to remember, it is that part where we can keep finding something to look at in a flower bed, these small details that keeps us looking, right? And good artists also know that. They might hide an Easter egg or something in a painting. They might hide something all the way at the back. They know that will catch your attention if you look long enough. So you have to remember there's many ways to create this, but one of the most important ways is when you create intrigue, you also create interest, right? So just remember, repetition creates harmony and layering creates depth. Intrigue creates interest, right? And that is something you need to bring into your flower beds. You need to think in layers, like I often do with front, middle, and back layer. And then you also have to think in repetition. It can be repetition of the leaves, of the leaf color, or it can be repetition of the flower head and the flower color. You can do this in many ways, but one thing to learn from artists is you want to use repetition when it comes to your garden, because you want the garden to look calm and at harmony, right? And repetition helps that, because humans like to have things repeated. It makes us feel calm when things are predictable. So you often want to create a framework, a predictable framework in your garden. And then you want to, all the way at the back layer, you want the layering going on. You want to create the details where people can really notice and look for more, right? But the framework, you always want to be rather calm. And one way to do that is repetition.